Welcome to Soulfire Wisdom with Kate Olson. As an evolving spirit and change adventure navigator, it is Kate's mission to empower and guide you on your path and inspire your truest passions. She will encourage you to share your gifts, speak your truth, and ignite your inner wisdom and purpose. She hopes to do so with a little humor and grace and her own soulfire passion. Kate talks with amazing guests who have embraced the pursuit and are fanning the flames of their own passion, purpose, and soulfire wisdom. Now, here's your host.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Soulfire Wisdom and Tips, Tricks, and Triumphs Tuesday. So, if this is your first time listening, I'm a hypnotherapist, an NLP practitioner, a Reiki master, and a life coach. But I like to call myself a change adventure navigator because I love guiding people through obstacles and adversity to find their path, purpose, and peace, and maybe a little soulfire wisdom along the way. So, what I wanted to talk about today was a little bit of a tip inspired by one of my clients who was having some challenges with um, confidence, actually. Uh, they seem to be doing a lot of convincing themselves that either they weren't good enough or couldn't do what they wanted to do, and were feeling really um, not as capable and productive as they would like to be. And they asked me, for some ways to get past that, to feel more confident, to stop um, stop doing that self-talk they were doing that was telling them not to be confident, actually. So, and that is actually a really good question because all of us do that from time to time, or at least most of us do. And getting to a point where you are really truly confident all the time is probably very few people actually reach that point. But getting to a point where you don't do that self-talk very often and you stop it in its tracks when you do start doing it, that is totally possible. And one of the ways that you can do that is being very mindful and aware of how you are talking to yourself and what you're thinking. And when you find yourself uh, thinking those negative thoughts, saying those negative self talk things to yourself, do what you would do if a good friend was doing the same thing. Just stop it and you know tell yourself what you would that good friend. And so that's my one tip on confidence for today. Uh, we have a great show planned for today, and I'm excited to get to our guest, Claire Candy Howe. She is the CEO of Angel Healing House, which she started back in 2003. She's a radio host of her own show, Angel Healing House, a best selling author, speaker, and she's also a Reiki master and teacher. And she's an angelic walk in, Angel Ariel, and the human representative of an angelic family, the posse of angels, whose mission is to uplift and enlighten humanity. And she can explain more about how that all works. And so I'm going to introduce her right now. Hi.
Hello, Kate. Lovely to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me on your program.
Oh, always nice to see you. So, to start out with, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and, really what brought you to your current path?
Absolutely. In 2003, specifically on January 11th, I had an angelic walk-in experience where, because the former soul, so traumatized, saddened, and in such despair, her vibrational frequency was so low that she couldn't keep her life force energy going anymore. She unconsciously asked all the time, "Please, God, take me out." She didn't realize that what she was saying is, take me out early from my contract that I wrote, because she was not of high enough frequency to understand where she came from across the veil, and had written a contract. And it was so vitally important since 1987 for that was the tipping point of the world, that we would not destroy ourselves, and that we would raise the consciousness on the planet. There were enough people at that stage on the planet that it started to raise the consciousness. And she was like a dearth of light. She tried to kill herself twice. And I, Angel Ariel, who was in the body of Claire Candy, came to her in her sleep state and said, "Please, third time's going to be the charm. Don't try to kill yourself again. You can go up with honors if you give me full permission to come in. You will walk out, your soul walks out, my soul, the soul of Angel Ariel, I will walk in to take over your responsibilities, clean up your life, so that I can start straight away as an adult and not have to be waiting to be born as a child, as a baby, and then grow up. I can start straight away to be of service to humanity." And that is exactly what happened on January 11th of 2003, when she walked out and I walked in. It took quite a while to clean up the body. It was anorexic and suicidal and just living on 2 packs of cigarettes and lots of black coffee. And so cleaned up the body, cleaned up her life, and then went on to create heaven on earth for myself. I studied 2 disciplines of Reiki. I had a burgeoning practice that people miraculously just were drawn to, not only on the Gold Coast, where I was living in Queensland, Australia, but also on the Sunshine Coast as well. I created a massive community of light there. And 9 months later, after I walked in, I drew my twin flame to myself, my beloved husband, Pete. 5 days after we met, he asked to marry me. We were married within 2 months. And I write all about this in my autobiography, I Am an Angelic Walk-In, the autobiography of Angel Ariel, with me on the cover. So, and then I started my Angel Healing House business, and have been helping people create heaven on earth since then.
So that's, quite an experience.
Well,
Maybe
it
not
is.
for Angel Ariel. Yeah. So why do you think that occurred?
Oh, it occurred. It occurs more often than you think it does, actually, Kate. Last time I checked in with the Posse of Angels, which is about maybe 3-5 years ago, they said at that stage there were about 1 million walk-ins on the planet. We're not all put in the same place. Not all walk-ins are angelic. Some are star seeds. They come from different planetary systems. Some are spirit guides. They all have advanced spiritual knowledge. They're not just coming in to have another walk around the planet. They are coming for a specific purpose, because they are signing on for the Great Awakening, which happened in 2020. We didn't know at the time that when it was going to happen, but in 2020, with 2020 vision, the world reached a tipping point of people who reached a high enough elevated level of light consciousness to be able to reveal the darkness, the dark agenda, the evil agenda that has been manipulating and controlling this planet for a very, very long time. So that's why it occurred. It occurred because the former soul of Claire Candy, who was in this body, she just couldn't find her light, and she asked all the time to be released, or to go, to die, basically. And then we across the veil don't want anybody to suffer interminably. And I approached her for about 2.5 years. Now, just because somebody approaches you in your sleep state, you have free will, does not mean that you're going to give yourself permission. She liked it in theory, but she was slow to come to it in practice, because it would mean that she would basically die in the physical sense. And I've had quite a lot of contact with her. When she crossed over, she was 10 years in Spirit Hospital because she was not strong enough to go through her life's review, because she was so traumatized. And I write about Spirit Hospital in the prequel to I Am an Angelic Walk-In, which is One True Home Behind the Veil of Forgetfulness, where you're wrapped in cocoon. This is for people who suicide. This is for people who have been traumatized and they're not strong enough to go through their transition, with that reunion party, going through their life's review and going over their book in the Akashic Records, their contract in their book of life. So that's why that occurred, because she gave her full permission for me to come in and to take over her responsibilities.
Okay, so with all the chaos, trauma, loss of this past year of 2020 that you mentioned, how can we begin to rebuild, or what is the, path?
The great takeaway from that is that this past year of 2020, each and every one of us on the planet finally saw the Great Awakening, the shift in consciousness of millions of people as they awakened to their independent, powerful, sovereign, divine natures. This elevation of these light energies finally made them clear enough to be able to perceive and understand the dark agenda and the manipulation and control that we have been living under for eons of time. And then slowly, as a planet, through the ages, we have been steadily lifting and lifting and lifting our vibrational frequencies. And in 2020, with 2020 vision, we came to a tipping point when we were able to see. That's why there were so many revelations and disclosures which were exploding all over the place about corruption and deceit and lies. For instance, just some of the areas that we were manipulated and controlled under. We were taken off the gold standard, and we were forced to be under a fake fiat monetary system where the bank loans you money. There was no money in the bank, but they created funny money out of air and then charged you interest on it. Another area was that we were made to actually pay income tax for our labor, which was never ratified under the Constitution. It was unconstitutional, yet people pay income tax every single year. Our medical system addicted us to pharmaceuticals and opioids, and actually hid alternative treatments to keep us sick, not to mention the manufactured fake media, the news, and the poisoning in GMOs, chemtrails, fluoride, putting fluoride in water, which calcifies our pineal gland, which is our channel to our intuition. all of these things were kept in order to enslave us and to hijack and manipulate and control us. Well, when the newly arrived heightened energies of these millions of people that spontaneously awoke and raised their energies on the planet, when they were married with the light workers, the way showers, the star seeds who are already here, and the walk-ins carefully placed in different areas around the globe to hold the light, we raised our frequencies to propel us into a whole new era, the age of Aquarius, the fifth dimension. And some people are prophesizing it as the 1,000 years, the golden age of 1,000 years of peace, prosperity, and truth. Now, one of the most important things is to realize, a lot of people in the spiritual community said, I didn't sign on for this. And you bet your bippy you did. You not only signed on for this, but you raised your hand and you excitedly said, I want to be part of the Great Awakening. Many people didn't have the fortitude and the strength to be here at this time, but you were chosen if you're here on the planet. And one of the blessings of it, Kate, is that people started for the first time ever to question where their information was coming from, who was delivering it, and whether there was a hidden agenda. And finally, their intuition was clear enough to be able to discern truth or not. And people started researching. If your listeners have started to research, I can recommend 2 fabulous videos. One of them is called Out of Shadows, which is about the CIA's mind control of us through television, through Operation Mockingbird. And the other one is called Fall, F-A-L-L, Cabal, C-A-B-A-L, which is a 10-part documentary series. And it's sometimes disturbing to watch the ways that we were manipulated and controlled. Both of those by the way, can be found on BitChute.
Okay, can I interrupt for a second?
Yes.
First, I want to say that you've gotten a greeting from the virtual sacred circle of nations.
Isn't that lovely?
Yes, but I want to get past anything that may be political, because we've just had our overdose on that.
Right.
So,
but my point.
What I do want to ask is, so what ways can we heal and increase the light within our bodies?
Okay, one of the things that happened when we awakened to all of this is that now we realize that we don't have to pop off planet in order to ascend, but that we're ascending right in our physical bodies. Because the vibrational frequency is so high now, our bodies are crystallining and they're turning to light. This is the first time ever that we will ascend within these physical bodies. So what we can do is we can be very observant about what we're ingesting only high frequency light foods, those things organic and not processed. If anything has artificial coloring, flavoring, additives, chemicals, anything like that, the body reads it as poisons and creates little houses around it to protect our organs, and those little houses are called tumors. So we have to be really careful now about what we ingest in our bodies, making it organic, filtered water, no fluoride, and keeping our thoughts and our words and our actions filled with the most optimistic and high vibrational frequencies that we possibly can. This is really, really important. And recognize that we have been through a spiritual war. Many people don't understand the magnitude of what each and every one of us has been through. Even the most spiritual of us. I've had lots of spiritual teachers and other Reiki masters and counselors and therapists come to me, and they all know spiritual law back to front, but because a lot of them are sensitives and empaths, they are picking up a lot of what the conscious collective is going through. So it's even more important for us to be able to maintain our high frequency. Another thing that we can do is to increase the passion in our lives. You know, through all of this, people have had a tendency to focus on what's wrong instead of focusing on the absolute blessing of what we went through in 2020. You know, all of those revelations and disclosures would not have happened if the light were not strong enough on the planet. Another thing that we can do is to become really vigilant where we're putting our focus and attention. Many people started to share information, and ask yourself, if you're sharing information, why are you sharing it? Are you sharing it to make somebody wrong? Are you sharing it to make yourself right? Or are you sharing it because out of judgment? So you want to make sure that you afford somebody else the same in respect and honor in their opinions and their beliefs, no matter where they are. And you want to make sure that you're affording them the same respect that you would want for yourself as well. So we can take time during this watery, emotional, we're in the sign of Cancer now, which is such a healing energy. And we can take these energies to really bless the past year, thank it for the contrast that it showed us, and bless those souls, whoever they were, to be able to put the energy into connectivity and harmony, rather than in the energy of separation and division, which we were programmed and manipulated to be separated from ourselves and separated from others. So there are a few things that we can do to really increase our light frequencies within.
So you've referred to something called the New Earth. What do you mean by that?
Well, the New Earth meaning that we're going into a new era, the new era of higher consciousness living. And the higher consciousness living is one of equality, one of unity, one of connection, and compassion, love, forgiveness, kindness, generosity, all of those things. Going into a new world of humanity, rather than separated by politics, rather than separated by gender, religions, culture, any kind of separation. That's what the new age of Aquarius and the golden age of prosperity and peace and truth. These are the attributes that the world is, and new structures are going to be starting to be built around humanity and equality. And that's when I referred to, it's a new world because it's functioning at a higher elevated level of consciousness. We are one of a few planets left out of the star nations who have not fully ascended yet, as many other planetary systems have, that live in peace and they live in harmony, and they understand that what they do is for the greatest good of the whole and not just for the ego self. And when one is of that mindset and participates for the whole, then everybody wins as a result of that.
So all of that sounds very good, and I definitely hope that that is our future that we're going toward. So what are some of the ways that we could move toward this?
Okay, a couple things that we can do is, now that many people, millions upon millions of people, have had this great awakening, this spiritual awakening on planet Earth, and now we are finally able energetically to receive the light frequencies, the higher frequencies, and the help from our interstellar, benevolent, galactic family of light that live off planet. Up until then, up until now, our galactic family of light, this benevolent interstellar family of ours, have tried to send us help. But our vibrational frequency was so low and it was so dense that it was a mismatch. Now that so many of us have raised our frequencies, we can start to integrate these higher energies from the Arcturians, the Sirians, especially the Pleiadians. Those are the ones that are most like us in nature, and they're offering their help to us. So by connecting, just like somebody would connect with the angels and elevate their frequencies to be on the same wavelength, so they can either clairvoyantly, clairaudiently, clairsentiently, claircognizantly, connect through telepathy or things like that with the angels. The same thing is that connection with our galactic family as well. There are going to be more uploads of these light frequencies in March. And each time that we're open to receiving them, many people get ascension symptoms from, the increased light frequencies. Is just to, visualize yourself interacting with them, being with this benevolent family, and just having this connectivity with them. That's one of the things that we can do.
Okay. So what do you consider your main purpose here on Earth?
Well, I guess the main purpose and the mission that I've always had at my business Angel Healing House is to help people to connect to the divinity inside of themselves. Everyone on the planet, no matter what they've done, no matter what they've said or how they've acted, is divine underneath all of that, because we are reflections of God's source energy. And what we are connecting with now, as we are elevating our light frequencies, we are connecting with that divine reflection, being of that higher source energy. And so I help people to recognize that underneath anything that they've done, they are divine. And if they've created, because of their powerful, sovereign, multidimensional nature of divinity, if they've created a certain world, relationships, jobs, things that are no longer in alignment with them, and no longer satisfy them, then they are powerful enough to connect to this divinity and to be able to create the worlds that they wish to create. So I think that's the main reason that's the mission statement of my Angel Healing House, is that everyone is divine, and that and then when you're coming from this divinity inside of you, then you're able to create a divine reality. Just on that other point that you asked me about the new world, another thing that we can do to really increase our light frequencies and to elevate our consciousness is for people to start to really think about what kind of a new world do they want to create. For instance, when I think about this new era, this going into this 1,000 years of this golden age of prosperity, peace, and truth, when I think about this, my new world, which everyone is creating their own reality. My new world has fresh water for everyone. It has housing for everyone. Everyone eats. The only reason that nobody ate that everyone didn't eat on the planet was because there were those who thought it was more important to manufacture and put money into making others the boogeymen and wars and things like that. What type of medical facilities and alternative treatments do we want available? In my new world, in my new era, this golden age, there's extraterrestrial technology of med beds. Actually, I just read an article that the first med beds are going to be rolled out in June of this year in Florida and in Texas. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I think that's what I read. And these extraterrestrial med beds, they eradicate disease. they restore our organs, and they reverse aging. What type of free energy do we want on the planet? Tesla, for instance, he had torque energy in the late 1800s, early 1900s. He was working with J.P. Morgan, who was providing all the copper wiring for putting electricity in the world. And when Tesla told him about his energy that he was going to provide free to everyone, J.P. Morgan shut him down because he couldn't make any money out of it. So in my world, there's respect, there's equality, there's humanity, and that's put in front of greed, corruption, and everything else. So one of the things that you can do is to visualize, intend, and feel through your heart that this is already a reality, because so much of it is becoming a reality. Don't think about it, feel it in your heart, because in the fifth dimension, we manifest through our hearts. We no longer are just limited to our limited linear brains. In the Piscean age, we were of too low a vibrational frequency to manifest any other way but through logic and reason. But now, through this higher dimensional consciousness and frequency of ours, we manifest through the feelings in our hearts.
So my next two questions might seem a little strange to be asking an angel, but I'm going to ask anyway. So you made the choice to have this earthly experience. What would you consider your greatest gift that you've gotten from your experience here?
Oh, let me see. It's twofold. One, it had been a very long time since I had been able to share an incarnation with my twin flame, Pete, or his real name is Kyle. Although he doesn't go by Kyle in this incarnation, he's Pete. And in previous incarnations, which I write about in my book, One True Home, Behind the Veil of Forgetfulness, either I was across the veil or he was on the earth plane. And most people do not have their twin flames in an incarnation because they can help you better from across the veil. And so it's been an absolute joy and pleasure to have a physical incarnation together. But I knew as soon as I walked in why I had come back and what I was, and the service to humanity, which was to increase the love and light on this planet in order for us to get to this tipping point in 2020. I've known this for almost 20 years, and I've diligently been working at this every week with one person at a time. I love what the Torah said. He who saves one person saves the whole world. And it was building this and building this along with all the other light workers and the way showers and the star seeds and other walk-ins like myself, building to this tipping point of getting to this stage of light. And it's such a joyful thing to see the great awakening finally happening on our planet. And so those are probably the two most extraordinary things that I've gotten out of this incarnation.
Okay, so this next question I've been asking all of my guests. So as I said, it might seem like a strange question to ask you, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
Yeah, that's fine.
So what has surprised you most about life so far?
In the past, I've only incarnated since January 11th of 2003, although I have the mental imprint of the former soul. But I'll just go on these last almost 20 years. What surprises me most is the resiliency of people. Is there, under the most extraordinary circumstances of of financial ruin and debilitating health problems, and estrangement. I have so many clients over the years who've had estrangement by their children, because they've been poisoned by the other spouse, basically through words and detrimental comments and things like that. But the utter resiliency of people, that they can still be loving, that they can still find forgiveness in their hearts, they can still be kind, and they can still find ways to not only turn their lives around, but to be of service to others, but to find ways to dig deep and to really be of service to others. I would say it's the resiliency of humans. It's just extraordinary.
Yes, definitely. I'll have to agree on that. I'm right now in the process of writing a book about resilience. So,
There you go.
yes. So, what if you could leave the listeners with one thought from today's show, what would you want that to be?
Okay, we here, when I say we, it's myself and my angelic family, the posse of angels. The ways to really turn your life into living heaven on earth is by following the 5 important tenets of Angel Healing House. The first is to take responsibility and accountability for your life, because you wrote it, the people and the events, the situations, into the contract of your life, even if they were the most contrasting characteristics of somebody. You wrote them in to learn your lessons. And so there's no blame, there's no victimhood. The second is to forgive. Since you wrote these people in your contract, the second is to forgive, not by saying, please, I forgive you, which still apportions blame, but by saying, please forgive me. The third is by not having any judgment, because you certainly wouldn't want anybody to judge you on your decisions and choices and your beliefs. By having gratitude and appreciation for your infinite blessings, no matter what you have in your life, and also unconditional love for everyone, because what we experience is an inside job. If you have these within yourself, then these will beam out and they will draw a life of respect and honor and blessings and unconditional love back to you, and a life of accountability and responsibility. So those are the 5 important tenets of Angel Healing House. And when we live those things without any compromise and without settling for less, we do start to live a heaven on earth existence.
Okay. Well, we got more than one thought there, but that's all good.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know that you have a special offer for anybody in the audience who listens to this broadcast.
I do. The special offer, and this is going through till the end of March, so it'll be March 31st, 2021. When people call Angel Healing House to book a session with me, they include an intuitive counseling session, which we raise above your life, and we look into the Akashic records to see why you wrote certain people in, what lessons you hope to learn from the different situations and events, and also an angel tarot card reading, channeled messages for myself and the posse of angels, and also a Reiki energy treatment to rebalance and also recharge. All of that is usually for 2 hours, a $400 session. But if they mention your show or they mention your name, it's discounted down to $250.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds like a good discount. So.
Yes.
So if somebody does want to get a hold of you, either about that or about, anything else that they have questions on, or anything else that you offer, your books,
Mm-hmm.
how would they get in touch with you?
They can call, they can go to my website, which is www.angelhealinghouse.com, or they can call me on 831-277-3716, and that's in Los Angeles, California, so it's Pacific Standard Time. Or they can email me at Candy, CANDY, at angelhealinghouse.com. I'm also on the different social media channels on Facebook and on LinkedIn, and I'm not hard to find on the internet.
So if you forget all of that, you can go to the radio website and go to guest info and scroll down to Claire Candy
Hoff?
Hoff.
Mhm.
And at least some of those ways will be listed there, and I'm sure it'll get you in touch with her.
That's lovely.
So thank you so much for being here today and talking about all of this.
You're welcome. You're welcome, and thank you for your radio program and sharing such beautiful messages with the world. Because the more that we share the messages, then the more people will, have the information on how to be high vibrational, enlightened beings of love and light.
Yes, and I think that's so important that people do have the choice.
Yeah.
So thank you. And we have another great show planned for next week. Next week, my guest will be Stephen Warner, and he is a business coach who helps people to speak their voice or to have a voice and to monetize their voice, because making a living is one of those things that we all have to do. So be sure to tune in next week, especially if you have a business or you're interested in having a business. Stephen is both very inspirational and motivational. So that's next Tuesday, which is 3/9 at 3 p.m. Pacific time. And thank you again.
Thank you. It was lovely. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy that sunshine.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Soul Fire Wisdom with Kate Olson. We hope you enjoyed the show. If we made you laugh, brightened your day, or sparked a new thought, we have succeeded in our mission. Join us next time when we'll share more secrets and truths and all the magic of transformation that is the journey to Soul Fire Wisdom. Always remember, be fierce in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire.